hell was that?
No matter how high-tech, highfalutin, lazy, or foo-foo America gets, we will never stop hunting and fishing. This is The Hunting Quest.
The Hunting Quest.
We take 1 hour of every week and talk about our favorite things in the world, hunting and fishing. You'll get tips and help on the fishing environment locally in the DMV area. Plus, we're going to have fun along the way. This is The Hunting Quest. And now your hosts, Mike Tippin and Mark Davis.
All right. We are back. Full force.
Wait on a link.
I got mine.
You got a link? I didn't get a link. I need a link.
I'm on my phone. Chill.
Okay. Then you don't have a link. You're lying.
No, I got one from, I get the pop-up from the notification as a subscriber.
Can you send me the link then? Is that what that is? Or is that just
I can, but Anna's better at it than I am.
She just left. We need a link.
She'll send it to you.
So we haven't been on here for a while. Well, you were.
I was.
You were last week.
I was all by
You weren't
myself.
before. Well, not really, kind of.
Yeah. I had Travis with me, so.
I was on here one time myself. That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's tough.
And everything broke. So I was really sick so I'm going to try not to cough and hack and snarl into the microphone, but it's probably going to happen, so I'm still kind of congested like that.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, it was not fun at all.
Yeah, the vid got you, huh?
That's a third. Well, so twice that I had it like diagnosed.
Yeah.
I think I got it once before they were calling it COVID. They were calling it like Asian flu or
something like that.
Yeah. I got sick, and this sucked. But so when I first got it, I took the test. It said negative, and then as the week went on, I think again it was positive.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe I got the flu and COVID because it was, I don't know, it just, oh my God, it sucked. I was like, part of me didn't think I was making it. Like that Thursday when it happened.
Yeah, Anna she said you were not feeling good, man, at all. I felt terrible for you.
Well, it was bad.
Jesus. And I think it kind of, when I think I wound up with COVID before it was COVID as well, like when it was still Asian flu type still. And I felt, literally, like I'd go to bed worried that I'm not going to wake up the next morning because I couldn't breathe.
Oh, so I didn't have as much trouble with the breathing and the congestion. That came later.
Oh.
But for me, it was I had a fever. And it wasn't that high. It was like 100. But I was so cold.
Yeah, Anna was telling me about that.
I had like 5 blankets. And they have these death heating pads that turn them on and they burn. You got to turn them off because you leave them on too long. And I had them on
probably
full.
Are not good to have.
I had them on full, and I had them stuck to myself, and I was still hot. So I know that I was dying. I was for sure. There was no way.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
I was going to just crawl outside and go hide somewhere and just die by myself.
Yeah.
It was rough. But in the scheme of things, it could have been. Oh, there's my
look at there.
My link.
There's your link.
So this is. Bear with me there, folks.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll talk a little bit.
Try to figure it out. But yeah, so that was my big thing that kind of sucked. So that's why we weren't on the show. That's why my voice probably sounds a little weird right now.
Yep. And you missed our duck hunt. I was disappointed over that.
I did miss a duck hunt.
Yeah.
Do you know really? And I'll be honest with you, I haven't done anything this year. Like everything I was supposed to do got canceled. Everything got pushed back.
We went bow fishing. No, didn't get
Other
canceled.
than that.
But you got COVID for that first one. Yeah.
Yeah, one time you went. And
that was the first. That was the first time me and Allie went, and you.
Was that July? Was that COVID? I think so. I think
so. I'm like almost.
It was so
26th, somewhere around there. It's like Allie's birthday.
Because I was gonna go muskie fishing again. I didn't get to go muskie fishing because the weather was bad. And I was gonna go.
You're just not dedicated enough to get a muskie.
I feel that right
4 years
fishing offshore, and then that's when I got COVID. Was fishing offshore.
Maybe, but you were supposed to. You were supposed to go bow fishing with me and Allie. You and Anna were supposed to go, and y'all wound up. Well, I know Anna wound up with COVID. I think you did too. And so me and Allie went, and that's when that was the first time we went bow fishing. Spent I don't know how many hours out there. I wound up with one catfish. One catfish. The whole
that
trip.
was the last time I.
And,
so we talked about the last time I went, I didn't get a single fish. Remember?
Yeah.
Because I was like, damn, I didn't even catch a single fish.
But I shot a whole bunch.
But the second time we went out was different.
Yeah. Well, the first time I went out, there was a ton of catfish out there. but I wasn't good at it. I mean, it's that, that saying, you got to suck at something before you get better, right? And I sucked at it. I mean, I think the one that I hit was, I really think Travis just like stopped the boat completely. It's like, all right, shoot right there, type deal. But
well, the one time we went out where we
that was at the James, right?
We actually killed some.
Yeah.
I remember I was nailing them with the back of the boat.
Yeah.
I was hitting here and there and all that kind of stuff. And then as time went on, it just kind of got.
Because you shot gars and you shot
gar, and then
we kind of figure it out.
We went to the other one, and I just couldn't get anything, and I was like, "What am I doing wrong?" You know what I mean? That was really, really, really annoying. Yep. But I mean, in the scheme of things, I can't complain because I got them the first time.
Right. Oh yeah, you can do it.
So anytime you get them, I mean, it's fun. It's like anything else. It's the more you do it,
right? And get your own setup, right? And no disrespect to Travis's setups. When you shoot one and then you move to, maybe you shoot a different type and you're trying to figure it out to learn on them, it's fantastic. But once you go get your own and then you start dialing it in that way, so Travis's stuff is top notch. No question about it. His bows are on point. They're, him and Cecil have their stuff together. They know that, this works and this works. And, with a couple of small, the bottles having issues or something like that.
Well, I think those things always better fall off.
Yeah. But, aside from that, everything else worked out well. It was, top notch stuff. But now to me, it's to the point where I'm just going to, I went out and got my own bow and stuff. I'm going to, learn how to shoot that and get good at it. So.
The first time we went out, to me, was really interesting because there were so many catfish, and that's all we really saw. And I was like, "That's really neat," And it was. I never realized how many were out there. I didn't realize it wasn't always like that. And then I also didn't realize that the river really played a really, really big difference.
Oh yeah.
So when we went into the Potomac, I noticed there was a lot of different types of fish.
Yep.
Whereas down there, we didn't see anything. I mean, we even saw fish that we couldn't hunt, which are like the largemouth stuff. We didn't see any of those.
Right.
When we were down in central, whatever,
James.
over there on the James. So it's really, it all kind of, plays in the differences of it. But I guess what I was getting at was that I've just had a lousy year overall, all the way around. And I'm not blaming it on any kind of,
just the way things go, right?
Yeah. I'm not blaming it on, guides or anything like that.
Yeah.
Part of it we had to bail out. Part of it, guides called me and said, "Hey, the weather's not that good. We're just gonna."
That's them doing their job.
We're gonna hold off.
There are some guys. There are some guides out there that would take you no matter what and make you spend your money. Yeah. Fortunately, you haven't. You don't have those kind of guides, which is good.
I have really good. Luckily, everybody that I go with, they always become like friends.
Yeah.
And they talk to me. They call me for it. And it's, "Hey, if you really want to go, then I'll take you. But
this is not
gonna go." Yep. Or "Hey, if we do this, can you come? Can you stay for another day?"
Yeah.
And not even like trying to nickel and dime. Like, "Hey, for another day, and we'll do this." They're kind of like, "Hey, can we?" Blah 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 blah. And that's kind of how the whole thing works out. But it's. Again, and it goes back to fishing and all that kind of stuff and everything about it. It's hard to catch fish.
It is.
It's hard
to fish and not catch it.
It's hard to do all those kind of things.
It is.
And if it was really that easy, it wouldn't be as fun.
Exactly.
If you went out there every time and you or you getting citation fish, it would be boring.
Oh God!
Every time you went out there, you caught something huge.
You got to be.
If every time you went, it kind of goes key back to if we went out every day. Okay, for example, let's say we were living down south and we had some big flying bridge.
Yep.
And every weekend we went out and we caught mahi and we caught some kind of sailfish or marlin or some giants like that. After a while, I'd be like, "Man, I'd really like to go to a pond and catch a bass," because you want to do something different.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of key too. Is that we were kind of doing a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah.
That was different. We hadn't really gone out and done any of this. And I'm not playing mean to the guys we went to, but like whatever before when I heard like shark fishing, I was like, yeah, whatever, what a scam. And we went out with that guys and we caught some other fish when we were doing other stuff. And they were like, "Well, why'd you come for the shark fishing trip?" And I was like, "Oh wait, that's not a gimmick?" And he's like, "No, we'll catch some decent fish." And I was like, "Oh, I thought that was like a touristy gimmicky thing."
Right.
And off the record, thinking he's going to tell me, "Yeah, that's just a scam."
No.
So there's misconceptions too. So I was like, "Well, this shit, I'll try it."
Oh yeah. Of course.
So I can understand. Like he said, you guys didn't have the best luck, I think, on the weekend.
No,
But the weather was way weirder than anything this time of year.
Bluebird skies. It was cold first in the morning. There's no wind. We saw ducks. We had ducks. Ducks didn't really want to finish. And, they were there, but duck hunting should be just absolutely frigid cold, miserable weather. Wind's got to be blowing. You want all of the horrible parts of the weather to make these ducks want to stop, right? Well, you were talking about.
That's what I said to Anna, because she had, I was asleep, they said, because she was sick. And she woke me up, she said, well, I guess you didn't be too unhappy because you didn't do that well. And I said, well, that didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And she was like, why? And I said, it's like 55 degrees outside.
Right, exactly.
And she's like, what do you mean? I thought that'd be better. And I was like, think of it. They're not going to land. She's like, well, why didn't they land? I was like, if you were on a trip right now, and you were driving down south, and the weather was beautiful and it was great, you're going to drive as far as you can. I said, this is when the snow starts and the rain starts and stuff, they're just beating the hell out of you the whole time driving.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull over and stay in a hotel.
Right.
And I said, it's really no difference with the ducks.
Yeah.
If it's beautiful weather, they're going to stop the least as possible.
Yep.
Not saying they're not going to stop at all, but they're going to way, way less.
Yep.
So I was like, no, that didn't shock me that you guys didn't have that kind of luck.
And it's early in the season too. We saw a ton of pintails, and I've got to get a pintail. That's on my list of the and I'm sitting there, and first thing in the morning, it's like 5 minutes before shooting light. There's 3 just perfect greenhead mallards that come cupped in, and finished and everything like that. And I'm like, man, these things. And I'm not that person. I am not. I am a strict by the book. Shooting light is shooting light. And
birds a federal game too. There.
Yeah, and not just that, but you think about it. If you're on the Potomac River, right, and you pull the trigger on a shotgun on the Potomac River, it echoes for a long way. I guarantee you, there's going to be some game warden sitting somewhere saying, 5 minutes, I'm going to go find him.
Well, especially that's early in the season.
Right. But not only that, but, Travis's group, the guides, they're not going to let you get away with that because it's their livelihood. You screw that up and, get a mark on them from the game warden or something like that. And, they get their outfitter's license taken away. That's terrible. That's a livelihood gone. So there's that. But yeah, we didn't have a ton of ducks. There were ducks. We had some problems because there was no wind. They wouldn't really finish. They'd get in and they'd see something that they didn't like. And most of the time it's with that wind, it's enough to cover stuff up, little bits of movement, stuff like that. But they just really had a hard time finishing. So, the ones that would come in, they're 70, 80 yards out, and I'm not taking that shot. So we had a couple of good that came by, and they didn't get called. We were hoping that they'd come back around, and you could have shot at them. So, it was a really good time. I have to admit, Travis, he came out and about halfway through, and we had a really, really good time with him. He brought some donuts and some coffee into the blinds, and it was a good time. But that was one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight too. Is I know you're getting ready to go out. You and we're going to go out, and it'll be your first time in the duck blind too. Coming up, I can't remember what the dates are, but we've got another one.
Where I'm told.
Yeah, we've got another one coming up, right? And one of the things that I want to make sure that it's good to talk about are for somebody new in the blind, what do you do and what not to do, right? The etiquette of being in a duck blind.
So I think there's a lot of issues with that in general that goes around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't. So I tend to usually have a much different attitude about things when I go out with a guide or a charter service or something like that.
Sure.
Maybe because you usually kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. I'm not the expert. Obviously, they are.
That's
at least I would hope so. That's what we're paying them for. But a lot of times, I'm ready to put my bait on my lines. I'm ready to rehook.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And to me, it doesn't bother me. I don't expect it. I'm never needy. I don't ask for much.
Right.
And I was out not too long ago with somebody, and I remember who it was, and their mate was there. and they'll talk. I mean, once you start talking about bad customers, they'll tell who you are. Like,
oh yeah,
and,
they will.
They were talking about, one of the mates was telling me a story about this guy who was coming in next week, and he really was bummed out.
Right,
he was coming for the whole weekend. He was in that deal for 2 days, and the guy didn't call him by his name. He'll say his name was John. I'm not gonna say his name was. But his name was John. He said the whole time he would just refer to him as mate. Hey mate, and it would just drive him crazy because he knew what his name. I know he's like, I know he knows my name. He's been with us like 6 times.
Sure.
And he said that every time he would like, give me that rod, give me that, bring me that, and just like bicker at him the whole time and command him around. And I've never been much like that. And I think that sometimes when I go out with people, I'm like, yeah, they're working for you, but they're not your servant.
No,
at the end of the day,
not at all.
Like,
not at all.
If you're on a charter boat,
yep,
then yes, they're probably going to rig your lines. They're probably going to throw it out, and when you bring it back, they're probably going to take the fish off for you.
Yep.
But that's about it. I mean, you expect this like waiting hand on foot kind of thing, and then you see stuff going on, and people are getting really mad about it. I mean, a boat's a small place to be starting, have issues with it getting irritated.
Yeah.
Really quick. So I think that people do sometimes have high expectations of things. And then I think people too often think they're spending a lot of money for a service, that I don't think they understand where the money breaks down in the service.
No clue.
So what you're saying, like when you go out on a boat and it's $1,000.
Yep.
Well, I'm paying this guy $1,000, and I'm tipping him hundreds of dollars on top of this. If I'm paying $1,200, I should be able to. Well, let me talk to you about that real breakdown.
Yeah.
When we start talking about like saltwater fishing,
oh yeah,
it's going quick.
Oh yeah.
We're talking gas. I don't care if your boat's 20 foot long.
Right.
If it's a smaller part of the fleet, you're going through fuel.
Oh,
you're going through hundreds of dollars of fuel.
Yep.
All of your equipment is expensive. Everything you've rigged is expensive.
Yep.
All your bait, probably not too bad, but you're still spending money.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's getting better when you become that wholesale rate.
Yeah.
But all that equipment that you're wearing through. Yeah, there might be a weekend where they luck out and they didn't have to go far. They went off and drove a little bit, and those trips did great. And then there's a weekend where they can't catch stuff, and you're shooting up and down all over the place.
Yep.
We talk about boat fishing.
Yep.
The first time we went, we just putted up and down and shot fish all day long. The second time we went across the river, back across the river, back across the river. When we went with him the first time, he never put that big engine in.
Yeah.
He always put the kicker motor in, and we ran the kicker motor the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, it's Cecil.
We never fired up that like 250 or whatever it is in the back. The second time we went out, we weren't getting any fish. He fired it up, and we shot across that river multiple times back and forth, trying to find stuff. So it quickly becomes more expensive if things aren't going well.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people think, oh, hey, I paid this guy so much money, I could be an asshole. Well,
no, you can't.
There's never really a time that any amount of money really presents you to be an asshole. But furthermore, I don't even think you understand how much of your money isn't really just going into the pocket. If it didn't cost me any money, and I went out on the weekend and I made $1,200 for half a day, and every day I came home with $2,500 in cash.
Yep.
I don't even know what that yearly breaks down to. If you do that 2 days a week, 4 days, let's say 2 days a week, 8 times a month, that's a shit ton of money to take home.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality is, it's not like that. These guys aren't out there driving beautiful cars and stuff like that. It's expensive
and that's
as hell.
just it.
Yeah.
That's it. It is not, the upkeep on the blinds. You've got to pay your blind licenses. You've got to get permission. If you're on landowners, you're going to have to pay leases. You're going to have to pay, out the wazoo. So, yeah, that's first and foremost is always treat your guide, like you want to be treated, right? Don't ever do that to a guide. So, certainly, as a newbie person, just keep that in mind. They're people. They're making it. They're earning a living with what they're with what they're doing. This is a livelihood for them. So keep that in mind. So that was the first one, and another thing that is very helpful, and I do it. Most everybody should do this in a blind is when you are looking, and you're trying to find ducks that are flying, things like that. Call the packs. Call what you see. Oh, Anna's going to break stuff. She came back in and decided to make her presence known.
I'm trying not to cough. Anna's in there, throw a box over.
It's okay, Anna.
And Moose is trying to get in here.
So
let's do an episode where people see Moose.
Oh yeah, we got to.
Because I don't know if anybody really knows what the hell Moose. So you come in here, you know who Moose is.
But you'll have to.
But if you don't come in here, you don't really know who Moose is.
Moose is awesome. So when you come in and like when you're in the blind, and say you see three ducks off to your left, call that and say, hey, there's a 4-pack over here, and generally the guide or whoever's going to be calling or whatnot will, okay, cool, I got them. Yep, all right, and let you know, hey, yeah, I see them. Or if not, they're going to say where, and give them more direction. The more eyes, the better, because especially on big water, and the Potomac doesn't seem like it's big water, but it's big water.
Depending where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 5 or 6 miles wide down the side there. Yeah. I mean, it's big.
And it's big water, especially for ducks. I'm used to shooting cow ponds and stuff like that. It's big water. So you get into that and, calling shots and helping out the guide that way, that's a must. So don't be afraid when you're in the blind to call a shot. Hey, or, call the what you see. Don't call the shot, call hey, there's 4-pack over here, there's 2 up high, whatever it is. And I promise you'll have one happy guide, just to help out with the eyes, So that was one I wanted to make sure. The other one is when you're in the blind and, your guide's calling, right? He starts calling, ask and say, hey, do you mind if I call with you? Or do you mind if you're good at calling or you're just practicing or something like that? They like to talk about that stuff. You don't have to be in the blind and be quiet. That's part of the cool thing about being in the duck blind is you talk crap. You talk crap, a lot of it, and it's fun. You give people grief or you pick on something or you do something, or you talk about duck calls and how to do them or how to get better. And I promise you, every guide that I've ever been out with has been amazing at wanting to teach you something, right? They love this so much. I mean, and you truly have to love duck hunting to be a guide. It's beyond a love. It's an absolute passion. So another little tip there is, ask them before you start calling. Most of the time they'll be glad to help you, or they'll be glad to say yes. And they'll certainly teach you what you need to know or help you, get better at it. So
I think part of that goes in hand with anything that you go out there with. I don't care I don't care if you're learning how to shoot. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're going into a class for instruction. You're on a fishing trip. You're on a hunting trip. Mm-hmm. I always ask, am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Because is this what you want me to do? Is this how we're supposed to do it? Even if you have a form and an idea, it might not be right for the area that you think you're doing.
Yep.
So, like, if I went tomorrow, like, let's say, I don't know, we went largemouth bass fishing with a guide in Okeechobee, somewhere far away.
Okay.
I understand how to fish for bass.
Sure.
But I'm going to ask him, what do you do here?
Right.
What do you want? Show me what you're doing.
Yeah.
I prefer the guide to fish with me.
Yeah.
So I can watch him and go, okay, this is what he's doing. Okay. It gets really frustrating sometimes when you don't do anything, you're not catching anything, and you're going, is it me or is it a problem? So I like to be really vocal with the guide and be like, listen, if I'm not doing it right, tell me.
Right.
But the last thing I think you need to do is get an attitude.
Right.
I've instructed classes, and I've been in classes where instructed,
yep.
Especially for shooting classes.
Right.
If you're going to pay the money to come out and have me teach you or have somebody else teach you, fighting me about what you learned in another class
not a good plan.
Is counterproductive.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. 100%.
If you liked that other class that much, then why did you take another class? I'm not going to teach you dumb stuff. I'm not going to show you dumb stuff. And that's when you see that happen a lot of times.
Right.
I went somewhere, and I'm not going to use examples of things, but where they would talk about, I went to so-and-so, and he told me to do this, and this is what we did all day, and now you're telling me to do the opposite. I am telling you to do the opposite. I'm not telling you to do that. And I can articulate to you why I think this is the way we should do it and why I don't like the way that you were taught before. Sure. I'm not saying when you leave here, you can't do whatever you want to do. But if you're here for my class,
this is how we're going to do it.
This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I have seen guys literally get so bad, they walk off of the range, go and stomp around for a while at the car or whatever, and then come back and be like, dur, 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 dur. And I think a lot of times I think what really happens is they went somewhere.
Yeah.
They were taught a lifestyle-ish kind of thing more than an actual useful way to increase your skills and be better and more proficient. They learned a way to look cooler and look more like you're on YouTube. And then at the end of it, they realize, wow, everything I learned was just a crock.
Yep.
And they're mad at themselves, or they're mad about what happened.
Absolutely.
Now, everybody's going to teach you something. You should be able to take something away from anybody.
Sure.
But
even if it's wrong.
At the end of the day, why argue with me? If you're going out there to fish with a guide, fish how he says to fish.
Right.
He's been there more than you have.
Absolutely.
If you can't shoot a pistol and you go take a pistol class,
Yep.
don't argue that this is how my dad showed me how to do it.
Yep.
This is how I learned how to do it in such and such branch.
Yep.
This is what my neighbor's husband's uncle's a cop, and he told me that we should do. No, it all
doesn't matter.
of that shouldn't matter. That's the last kind of attitude you want to bring, because what's going to happen? They're not going to spend the time with you.
Yep.
They're going to want to get done as fast as they physically can,
Yep.
and they're not going to want to talk about you, and they're not going to be honest with you.
I 100% agree. And the fastest way to make people angry is exactly that. You're paying these people for a reason. What that reason is for their expertise. You should definitely.
Do you know how you deal with the problem if you went out with a guide and you're a service or anything like we're talking about, and you decide during that you don't like the skill or they're not capable of teaching you, or you made a mistake? The way that you resolve that problem is you don't take a class with them again.
Right.
You might as well finish it and see if maybe there is something you're going to learn.
There's something at the end.
But being a dick is not going to help.
Nope.
This is the situation.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I've watched it time and time again. And the worst part is you can see the people when they get there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, here we go. I just know how this is going to be.
Right.
It's just one of those things. It doesn't matter what it is. They don't respect it, or they don't care about it, or they think you're something else.
It's awful.
I've dealt with people before where it was like a money thing. Like, oh, I make too much money out here. I'm going, you don't have no idea who's in this class with you.
Right.
This is Northern Virginia.
Yeah. You have
Everybody's rich. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
That shouldn't be why you're there.
We used to teach at one location that was an old farm, and it was huge. It was tremendous. It's in this area, so it's expensive. And it was like 100 acres or whatever. And I remember we taught a small class. And the guy's like, oh, whose is this? I said, one of our guys. So he owns this, but he inherited it. And he bought it like 2 years ago. He bought this. I said, yeah, he bought it. Whatever. It is what it is. So, and I remember them just being like mind blown.
Yep.
That they had this idea coming on that, like, oh, I'm so above these. This is so.
Oh, yeah.
So all those bias.
Oh, yeah.
Mindset that you have is not going to get you anywhere. Just be open. Listen to what they have to say.
Yep.
Ask questions.
Yep.
It's just, I say all the time, am I doing something wrong?
Yep.
Like when we're not catching fish, and I don't know if it's the best thing to say to a guy. Maybe it stresses them out more. But the first question, I'm like, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Because if I could make our odds better, be it. And I'll tell the guys too, are fishing. You fish. That's another person.
Yep.
At the end of the day, even if I don't catch one and you catch, at least I can touch it.
Right. Exactly.
Let me take a picture with it.
Exactly.
I saw one, something.
Yep.
Hey, did you catch one that day? No,
nope.
I didn't.
But you should have seen what this guy did.
Someone did. We saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really neat.
And you get excited when people catch fish or you shoot ducks or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's if you don't get excited about that, there's a problem, right? And I challenge somebody to sit there and start bad mouthing somebody because maybe their guide shot better than you did, or their guide caught something, a bigger fish than whatever. Nobody's going to give two craps. You're going to sit there and it's like, holy smokes, I was a part of that. That's cool.
Some things don't make sense. Like if your phone was ringing and was making a dinging noise, sending a text message saying turn your phone off and then it dings again is maybe the most counterproductive thing to do as far as that goes.
It's Anna. She's going to kill you in your sleep just so you know.
I swear, Anna, I've turned it off. I don't know why it's still beeping. Sorry, so my phone's, obviously, I think you probably hear it's been beeping.
Yeah.
Anna sends a text and says, turn your phone off.
She's looking out for us.
I just think it's
funny, though.
That's how she does it. We can dig again.
She won't get on the mic and say, hey, turn your damn mic off.
Well, she totally could. I mean, that would be totally acceptable, but she refuses to be on the microphone anymore.
I don't blame her.
But she hears us. She's got her headset on. She's ignoring us, but she's definitely.
She's got stuff to do.
She's over there.
So that get back on topic. One of the things along those same lines, right? When you're in the blind, you ask politely, "Hey, do you mind if I call?" Or "What are your rules on me shooting?" Or and things like that. Here's what I tell everybody, and there's three main items here that I really really want to make sure people. Three main items. Three.
Remember these three key ingredients.
Yes. So the first one is
no idea what he's going to talk about.
Yeah. So the first one is when you've talked to your guide, you've signed your waiver, you've done all the stuff, you're in the blind, you're ready to go, and they'll tell you when it's time, when shooting light is, and they'll typically say, okay, we can shoot now, so blah blah blah. and you listen to them. You pay attention to them, right? And they're most of them will always go over some type of a safety type, brief or whatever. Hey, look, guns shooting forward, blah, 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 all of that stuff. But one of the things that you've got to really, really focus on is when the ducks start to come in, you got to be still, right? You can laugh and joke and carry on and have a good time, but you've got to be still, right? Because birds' eyes are phenomenal, and they can see.
Throw that for turkeys.
Yeah, they can see. So, and it might be an old wives' tale or something like that. I love to watch the caller work the geese or work the ducks or whatever, right? So as they're coming through, you can, they're calling and you'll see them circle, or, they'll be away and they'll hail call and bring them back or whatever it is. And it's cool to watch. But when they're in final, you're like, and they're going to come in and they're locked up and they're in their set and they're going to come in as on that final approach type deal. Get your face out of the view of that duck, because your face is not part of nature. And so you don't do that. Though. It is. You want to look up, you want to watch them, but I encourage people, don't look up. And the wives' tale has always been, they can see your eyes, right? They can see your eyes. So the only person that should be really kind of looking up, at least, I kind of look down over my hat. If I can see them, great. But if I can't, I'm going to kind of.
I swear, I think they can see your eyes. I know it sounds ridiculous, because I remember being out with turkey,
geese especially,
completely camouflaged.
Yep.
And everything out with what they call a bandol, whatever, covers everything but right here. And those turkeys running around being stupid turkeys.
Oh yeah.
I'm 14 feet up.
Yeah.
They're gobbling around looking for nuts or whatever they're doing. Yep. And all of a sudden turn, look right at my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And then just gobble each other and disappear.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's really some truth to that.
I do too. And so the key here, the key takeaway in this is listen to your guide, right? He's going to call the shot. And that what I mean by calling the shot is they're going to tell you, all right, take them, right? And most of the time they'll talk it on the way. They're calling and they'll, all right, 3 coming in on the left. All right. Well, 3 on the left means that it's going to start with the shooters on the left and they're going to move to the right. But if you're not looking up, you're not watching them, and you're kind of you're doing what you're supposed to do, which is keep from these ducks or geese seeing you and effectively calling, having an issue with them. Just wait. I promise you, when they call the shot and they say, all right, shoot them, and you stand up or you look up and you see 25 mallards in your face, or, 7 pintails, or, a flock of, a gaggle of geese that are sitting there,
a flock of gaggle of geese?
I had to fix that, a gaggle of geese, whatever it is. What do you call a bunch of crows together?
A murder.
All right, cool.
What do you call a bunch of rabbits together?
Uh-huh.
You don't. She can't resist it.
Ferrets.
It's animate. What do you call a bunch of ferrets together? It's ferrets.
He gives up.
No, I know what it is. What is it? I forgot.
It's a business.
It's a business of ferrets. Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
anyway, we kind of went off topic.
So, first off, so that's key point 1.
Yeah.
Keep your head down.
Yep. All the time.
Okay, just want to check, make sure we're going to keep
that's the first one.
Key point 1, according to Mike, when bird hunting.
Yep. Keep your head down.
Look at the birds.
Right. And go with war paint. Paint your face.
I don't know about all that, but don't look at you should get your eyes injected with the whites.
No.
With black.
I'm not going to do that.
All right, what's point 2?
So point 2 is
we're going to play a game after this. I'm excited about it.
Oh dear God.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So point 2 is when you're kind of, once you've called your shot, once they call the shot and you can stand up, or, and you take your shot, be cognizant of everyone in that blind, right? You have guns in that blind. Be safe about it. You're so excited. You just shot your first pintail, or maybe you're in you shot your first duck or goose or whatever it is. And they've got dogs that are running out that are going to go retrieve. They've got, different things going on. Be very, very cognizant of safety. That is key point number 2. Safety at that point, because so many people forget to put their guns on safe. It's insane. And and what do? They rest them up on the thing, and there's twigs, there's God only knows stuff in there.
Business affairs all over the place. Mess with your guns.
Yes. So that's my second point: is be very, very cognizant of
what. So hold on.
Of safety.
Don't look. Safety second.
Yep. Safety second.
That doesn't sound right.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe we should switch this. First one to safety.
Well, it's safety after the fact.
Okay,
We've already
so
had
hold
our
on.
safety.
So overall safety is key one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Secondaries, don't look at the birds.
Sure.
Third is secondary safety.
Yes.
And we have a fourth point coming.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so the fourth one is once the birds, say there's cripples that are sitting out there, right?
That means birds that are dead.
Right.
Not gang members.
Right. That's funny. But so they're sitting on the water, right? Don't shoot until your guide says that you can shoot. And if he does say somebody shoot that cripple, you shoot the cripple. Don't shoot the guy's the decoys. Don't shoot the decoys.
Yeah, that's sunless people.
And don't shoot just for the sake of shooting either. Again, listen to your guide, because there's going to be a dog that's going out there, and if you shoot their dog, I cannot deal with that. And it has happened. I know people who it's happened to. So don't shoot the dog. Don't shoot the dog, and don't shoot the decoys. Right. So again, it goes back to let's listen to what they say. Right. Listen to the guides, and they say, all right, somebody shoot that cripple, and you shoot it. It's also a good way to pattern your gun so you can see how your gun's shooting. So,
Mike's new paperback book.
Yeah.
Safety first. Don't look at the birds.
Right.
Secondary safe. Secondary safe. It's secondary.
Right.
Don't shoot people's dogs.
Right. That's perfect.
That's it. That's
all. That's the newbie's guide to duck hunting.
That's the newbie's guide. No, but it all does make sense, really. I mean,
Yeah.
pay attention to what you're doing.
And be nice.
Do people get buck fever like we talk about?
Oh God, yeah.
And you'll see it, especially bird hunting, especially anything like that.
Yeah.
Especially like grouse hunting,
Yep.
bird hunting.
Dick Cheney.
Ooh, yeah, Dick Cheney stuff. Yeah, that'll get you. That's not.
I laugh about it, but I mean that happens too.
So I knew a guy who didn't take safety first, and
Jesus.
he was in a blind, and he looked up at the ducks, and they were there, and he put his gun down, and he didn't put secondary safety on, and a dog ran by and knocked the gun over, and it blew his hand off.
Are you serious?
He didn't use the 4 standards of.
Are you
blind
serious?
safety. No, not at all.
Okay. I'm like, you cannot. There's no way.
I was taking
there
your
is
4.
absolutely no way that's true.
Your 4 things.
That was good though. You
and
kept a
making
good face
story
on that
out
one.
of it.
See, I haven't been around you long enough, or I hadn't been around you for
Lately,
so long.
that's that cold's really killing me.
That's what it was, man. I haven't been around you long enough to know when you get a line of BS going.
So I want to try a game today. I literally just came up with this out of the blue, and if you know, Anna will do a good job with this.
Oh God,
because this is going to be reliant 100% on Anna. Anna, are you there? Talk for a second.
I'm here.
All right, here's the game.
Okay.
I'm setting myself up for failure.
oh Jesus.
Let's do a gun history.
Ooh, okay. Anna's gonna kill us all.
What? No. Anna's going to set me up to either do well or fail. I want you to go because we got so many random things in the store right now. Do we not? You want to just go pick a random gun that I have no idea what you're going to bring out here, and I have to explain the history of it?
Just one? Or do you want
Get one.
Just
I know the one.
Start with one. Don't tell me what it is. If you're going to talk to me about each other, you're going to talk about each other. I don't want to know. I don't want to have any pre-game. I literally have no idea what they're bringing it off. No.
It's in that back room we talked about.
No clue what they're bringing.
Oh, you want an auction gun or you want like a store gun?
It can be whatever. But don't give me something that's not like for example, like those turkey shoot guns.
Okay.
Like, don't bring me anything like a turkey shoot gun because there's no history to a turkey shoot gun. I mean, I can talk turkey shoot gun, but the history
It'd be hard to show on the camera because it's so big.
doesn't make any sense.
Get the other one that's ugly.
Oh no, those things suck.
I know.
It's so good. It's not an interesting gun.
Hey, you're right.
And the ones that I have a couple of, like, if I was
Okay, well, just for reference, Mike wants me to bring out a Kirk Hano.
Okay, here, I'll give you a history of Carcano right now, okay?
All right, while you're doing that.
It's an Italian gun. It was an Italian infantry rifle. It's their main rifle they ever used. The problem with the Carcanos is that after the war, Italy, part of the treaty was that they weren't allowed to have any guns or ammo like that. It was all destroyed. There's no secondary market on ammo. So we have all these Carcano guns floating around. There's no rounds for them.
Right.
Carcano rounds are so expensive. So it's like the most useless gun in the world. And there's a bunch of different variants of a Carcano.
Right.
And they had to take their stupid stripper clip out to work. So,
yeah.
So they're very, very, even if you find the ammo, then you can find the stripper clip. Oh, Carcanos there's a whole bunch of which you just can't shoot them.
So how old are, like, when did those guns, like, when did they start to get manufactured, roughly?
Well, I don't know. I don't know when they first started, because there's so many variants of them, Carcano-wise, but that was their general infantry weapon.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
I mean, if you think of it, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, what do we start with here?
Oh, all right.
All right, give me the top one.
All right, there's your top one.
Okay. Safety first.
All right.
Secondary safety second.
All right.
All right, so we're clear. Unloaded, safe to go. See, it's safe. No rounds in it.
Gotcha.
Okay. What we have here is a Walther P38.
Just so everyone is aware, he did not point that at his head. It definitely looked like it. It was pointed at the ceiling.
Yes.
Oh, did it? Did it look like
yeah.
some gangster stuff?
It looked like you pointed it straight at your head.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, no, that was not the case.
No, this is actually really clean too. For how long it's been sitting.
That's a bad gun, man. That is
So
a really
so this is a P38. This is a German design. There's some really interesting things about the P38. So the P38 will look very similar to something if you know a lot about guns. This looks very similar to the Beretta 92.
Yep.
The Beretta 92 would have, of course, it would go all the way forward.
So can they see that on the camera?
Hold it up more.
Yeah, so Beretta would have had a full dust cover all the way up, and it would have gone here. That's where you'd see the barrel would have been flush. Yep. The sights would have been on the slide, whereas with this one, the sights are on the slide and on the barrel, not just on the slide itself. This sort of has a fixed barrel in the sense that it doesn't pivot. See what I mean? When you go straight back, when you think about your modern guns, a lot of them pivot. 1911s don't pivot, but they're not really a fixed barrel. This is kind of similar to the idea of design of it.
Okay.
And a German gun. Germans used a lot in World War II. This was a very, very, very highly used gun. What's really neat about the P38 is, as far as a gun that was made a standard manufactured gun, just a mass-made gun, this is your very first
decocker.
Yes, that's funny you say that. It's your first mass-produced single action and double action.
Ooh, okay. I didn't know that.
And decock pistol.
I knew the decock. I didn't know it was single and double.
This is basically what we based guns off of. So we went two different directions. Americans had 1911s. They were single stacked with a Tang safety, 45, things like that. They had 9mm with this.
No decocker at all.
No double action. And the Germans went the completely other way, which was single double action in 9mm. Parabellum. So.
What was that?
9mm parabellum.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, you know what parabellum means?
No. Okay. I was getting ready to ask you.
So, people say a lot of things about parabellum, and for some reason, and I don't know why, they associate that to have something to do with curvature.
Okay. Parabolic.
I don't know where they get that from, but I've heard that a lot. Parabellum doesn't mean anything like that. Before the war, Germans had a lot of different 9mm rounds.
Sure.
Just talking about the diameter of the round was 9mm. So they had all these different ones all over the place. And guns back then a lot of guns were just handmade.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like kind of made as they were. Not that they were bad, but they were more of like a
custom, mass
machine. Yeah, they were mass produced. So when they adopted to go to war, they wanted something to be standardized.
Sure.
9mm parabellum means for war.
Oh, okay.
So there was a 9mm cartridge for war.
I got you.
So now what you think of now is your modern 9mm parabellum is your modern 9mm parabellum the Germans had before that.
Sweet.
For example, you ever heard of a 380?
Yeah.
380 is a cut down 9.
Yeah.
380 is originally called, well, it's called a couple things, but it's called 9mm Kurz.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know
Kurz
that.
is German for short.
Short, right.
So 9mm short is what that was.
That's cool.
It was also called, 380 was also called 9mm Browning Court.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Where are we at right now?
What do you mean?
What's the name of this address?
Oh, Davis Court. Browning Court. Yeah. Okay.
So it's funny this Browning Court. Browning Court is because that was something to do with like the way Browning did something or another.
Oh, no kidding.
But that was another reason it was called that. So literally, so you can see on a box, you can see anywhere from 380.
Right.
You can see where it says 9mm short. You see where it says 9mm quartz. And we literally a couple years ago got boxes from Fiatchi, I think, that said 9mm Browning Court, and it confused the hell out of me. And that was the first time that I knew him calling us that. So this was a really big gun for the Germans. Germans used them for multiple different things. They used them for sidearms for German soldiers. They used them a lot as occupying force guns. So there were different levels. This, to me, I think this is a post-war gun, by the look of it.
So is that an auction gun, Anna, or is that a...
That's a store gun.
It's a store gun. All right, so that one's up for sale.
This does have stamps on it, so it has been stamped, but it doesn't have the regular German stamps of wartime stamps. So
Gotcha.
wartime stamps would have been 3 stamps on each part, and they actually would have been 12 on the bottom. So this doesn't have it, and this looks like an alloy frame and a steel side. So I think this is a post-war gun. Still off the basic.
Still looks good, though.
I mean, it's still exactly functions the way they were.
Right.
So the Germans were really big on these, and what they would do is the ones that they would give these to officers as well, like command officers.
Yeah.
Not police officers, but what I'm referring to right now is like a lieutenants and above.
Sure. Yeah.
They would give it to them, and they would be in a high polished blue. So they'd be really shiny, really, really nice, and all the machine work would be really fine. This machine work's pretty good. It's nice finish and smooth. This isn't exactly a high blue,
right?
But it's not a Parkerizing. They also made these in a more similar color, similar setup, but like these serrations here would have been rougher. The edges would have been rougher, and they would have Parkerized it instead of bluing it because there was no polishing of Parkerizing. And they would issue those out if they were going to occupy country. So let's say they took over a city or something like that.
Right.
And what they would do is they would rally locals to become like special police or military police to basically police their own people.
Right.
And they would give them the versions that weren't as nicely finished.
Sure.
So the Germans were really, really, really big on pistols, not because they necessarily used them for themselves. They gave them to occupying forces, whereas their guys would carry rifles and some machine guns.
Sure.
They worked mainly off of bolt-action rifles and machine gun team. That was how they functioned most of their stuff. So most of the pistols that you see here, they're going to be for officers.
Right.
And you can tell because they're really finely done. They're nice, very presentational stuff.
Right.
Or they would have had the ones that were rougher looking.
Right.
Those would have been for like occupational forces that were doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I got you. And it makes sense. I mean, why would you give them something good? You know, if they decide to turn on you, well,
so
they only have pistols.
What's neat about these is that it was these and the Lugers were what they were given to the officers. Now, as far as the occupying forces, they were given all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Anything they could make, PPKs, stuff like that. PPKs were also given like special police, things like that were smaller. But your full-size officer gun would have mainly been this or the Luger.
So
in 9mm.
Okay, yeah.
The Luger was also a 30 cal version.
That's what I was going to ask.
But those would have been pre-war guns.
Gotcha.
Mainly. You wouldn't have seen them afterwards. What's really weird about this is that the plant in France where they were making them, I have one that doesn't make any sense at all because before the end of the war, they were just rough finish. They were Parkerized. They were trying to pump out as fast as they could. I have one that's almost at the end of the war, but it's beautifully done. It's all high polished.
Really?
And I've taken a couple of guys, and nobody knows why it was done the way it was because it goes against everything they were doing to the last minute. So he said most likely it's one of the guys at the factory was making it for himself, knowing that it was going to fall.
Gotcha.
Because they'll go through like series, and at the end there's a whole bunch that come in where the parts are all mixed match for certain years. Because when the plant fell, GIs would just go in there and
start
put the guns
together
with what they had later.
Yeah.
So that's, a basic history on the P38. I'm no P38 expert per se.
Right.
I'm sure somebody's like, that's not exactly correct. Whatever, I'm sure. But generally, this is what you want to look at as your first mass-produced gun that was double single action.
Yeah.
The first one that really had a decock. It was really a battle-proven gun. And like I said, I think that it'd be hard-pressed to say that Beretta didn't steal a bunch of these ideas. Because it follows Beretta so much.
Absolutely. Well, if it works, why, if you can make enough changes to it.
So here's the biggest difference between this and what we think of as most combat action pistols nowadays.
That would drive me nuts.
It's a single stack mag.
Yeah.
So, so your bottom release like this.
Yeah.
back in the day, that was common. That's all you had. So this is even what we would call like a European release.
Yeah.
That was what they did. It was very simple.
Yeah.
They didn't realize how easy it was to put a button there and notch magazines. But this magazine being only, I think, like 9 rounds, or was it 2, 4, 6, 8 rounds or 7 rounds? I don't know. It's been a while since I messed with these, but whereas the Beretta was a double stack mag.
Right.
So that was really a big difference, is that nowadays you would have so much more capacity than some of the other guns.
Well, and it's a proven fact. You go back and you look at the size of people back in World War II versus the size of people, in today's society, that grip is not nearly as wide. So, if you're looking at a society of people who have a little bit smaller hands on typical, hey, like me.
Nice little teeny hands.
Yeah, then those, having a double stack, might not be something that would be conducive for the, for the warfighter. So,
no, they're really neat.
I like it.
Anything from the wartime, any of the war guns to me are cool. World War II guns. We start to get too old, but I know cartridges.
Yeah.
So anything that's going to take like a metallic cartridge loading is kind of the time period that I know.
Yeah.
Before that, we start talking about muzzle lasers, flintlocks, any kind of black powder stuff. That's not really my forte. My forte kind of goes more to the modern things like that.
We were talking about who's the Greek. What's his name?
Oh, what the hell are they called?
I've only been in today. Anna.
Tommy.
Oh, yeah, Tommy the Greek.
He is the guy that does the food at the auction.
Right. So he was here, and he was telling me about a lot of the guys. So he's legit Greek, and he's got place out there and grew up there and all that stuff. So anyway, he's telling me about the paper shots, right? And how people over there would take the paper shots and they basically wouldn't even measure anything because they'd been using it for so long. They don't measure anything. They don't really care. Just put it all together, fold the top down, put it back in the gun, and it fires. And you're like, I mean, dude, that's crazy.
You got to look at what a lot of the stuff back then was real. So the measuring tools that they would have for like quick measure, they're not exactly on, but
it doesn't really matter. I mean,
it takes a lot more than what you would think to cause cash out failure.
Oh yeah,
you really have to pack a lot into stuff.
Oh yeah,
you kind of got to know what's going on. I
mean, sure.
To really, you almost have to not be paying attention at all. You're more likely to have contract failure from the other direction. Whereas you didn't load any powder into a cartridge, and then you fired it, it got stuck in your barrel, then you fired another one.
Oh, yeah.
So I see an AMT box. So you pull the gun out real quick. I'll show you what the box is. So AMT. This is an old box. Probably because AMT is an old company.
That's a really heavy gun.
So AMT is really, really neat. This is an AMT. She's clear. AMT stood for Arcadia Machine and Tool. They were out of California for a while. There's a couple other companies that were similar. AMT, AMP. They had different brands, stuff like that. The auto bags are part of the series and kind of thing like that. If you look, they're really neat. They have this flat finish to them.
Yeah.
Their marking's really neat.
I was looking at it. It's really slick.
I think they were in business up until like the
So is that stamped or engraved?
The 90s, but that's engraved.
Yeah.
That's laser. That's actually laser.
Yeah, that's what
so that's like laser burn etch. This was newer technology back then. What's neat about their guns is they did really radical stuff that a lot of people weren't doing at the time. They went out of business mainly because I think they were lawsuits with Ruger, I think is what wound up doing them in.
Yeah.
For copyright infringement because they had a bunch of different things like that. Back and forth with who had designed stuff. It all goes back to what we talk about now as I think Mark IV is the series now.
Something like that.
Yeah, so Mark IV is the latest 22.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Is it 4?
Yeah,
Yeah, so 4. The original ones, the Mark Is, and the 1022 rifles.
Right.
AMT made versions too, and they were called the Lightning. So it was a Lightning rifle and Lightning pistol. And they look very similar to me. If you were to ask me the truth, the Lightning pistol is better built than the 1022. I mean the Mark I. I mean, it's just the way it was. Things was all beautiful stainless stuff, really nicely done, really squared edges, had rings built into it. It would catches. They have a couple of their guns. Really, really nice. So they made those. There were lawsuits back and forth. I don't remember exactly what happened, but AMT was not a huge company, so it probably didn't work out that well. This here is a little bit different. I can't remember what the model is called on this one. I think it's just called Automag 2. Yeah.
Automatic too.
So what's really cool is this is a 22 mag.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, nobody was making a lot of stuff in 22 mag, and they definitely weren't making some out of pistols.
Right.
They made this in a bunch of different calibers. Are cool. They made these in 30 carbine. Yes.
That's cool.
They also made it with shorter barrels, with shorter dust covers, like we're about to hear. The 30 carbine would have been this big. They made these in 50 AE, Desert Eagle.
No way.
Made it in 454 Winchester Express or something.
Oh, God. That's like $20 a shell.
If you've ever heard of a hardballer,
yeah,
they made the hardballers.
Really?
Those are the very first 1911s ever made out of stainless steel.
Okay.
If you're a video game person, there's a video game called Hitman, and in the game you carry 2 hardballers on them, and there's with AMT hardballers, which is what they were. They made everything. They like to make stuff out of like stainless steel and matte steel and stuff like that.
That's cool.
They did these grips. These were supposed to be futuristic guns. They did really cool stuff. It tends to work. It's a little gimmicky. But if you like weird stuff, anything you find AMT or AMP or any of those companies that were followed is just really, really, really cool stuff.
So on that gun, I noticed it's heavy. I mean, that's a heavy gun. From a competition perspective or an accuracy perspective, so how do you think they would perform?
Competition perspective, you'd have no use for it.
Right.
There would be a competition it would fit into. If we were going to go shoot something with Grimfire, we would do a steel competition, just falling steel or just hitting steel. There'd be no advantage to shoot 22 mag versus 22.
Right.
So why gather any extra recoil? As far as accuracy wise, I mean, 22 is a screaming round.
Oh, yeah.
22 is a very damaging round. We did a test one time with a company that needed some firearms fired into bulletproof glass they were making.
Right.
And we just happened to supply them with firearms of different calibers. And one of the most devastating things into them was a 22 mag.
Yeah.
It was punching holes through it. It was doing weird stuff that we didn't think it would.
Right.
It was stopping rifle cartridges because so it's 22 mags were going through. I'm not saying that that's the way it always works. Obviously, it was a flaw with what they had, but it just shows you the stop power of this house. 22 mag it's inherently nasty. I mean, it's fast, it's small. It's really good. I mean, if we didn't in Virginia, there's 22 you can't hunt with.
Right.
If you could 22 mag, you could do it all day long.
Oh yeah.
A self-defense weapon. You see those little revolvers that like North American Arms makes.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's a lot of gun in a small little spot.
For sure.
What's really really cool about AMT is that people never realized this existed.
Right.
So like at one point, Keltec came out maybe like 10 years ago, or that long. PMR 30.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. PMR 30 was a polymer gun, nothing like this, nothing of the quality of this.
Right.
But it had a 30 round mag, which was the difference. It was about the same size grip wise, but it was 30 wide or 30 round mag. But you're like, oh my God, it's so cool to have a semi-auto gun that shoots 22 mag. Blah, blah, blah. Like it was some revolutionary thing. It's not. It's been here for years. This gun could be from the 80s. I don't know what year exactly this is from. I'm sure I can look it up. But let's say it's from 85. I mean, this gun's 37 years old, 38 years old. So they're just really, really, really cool.
Yeah, she doesn't have a date on.
They used to be cheaper. Now they're getting up there in price. They're getting pretty expensive nowadays.
No date on that.
But for a long time, they weren't. But I mean, this is a really good example.
It's a slick gun.
It's in really good shape. Shoot a big fireball out of it. It's just really, really cool. Unfortunately, you just don't see a lot of companies making neat stuff like this anymore. Yeah. I think that they made these in 30 carbine was really, really cool.
That would be cool. I'd like to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah,
just once.
I've seen a few of those floating around. Like I said, they made them in regular 22 too. They made shorter versions. The 50 is a really cool one that they make it in because there's not a lot of rounds in 58.
Yeah, I bet you if that's in stainless steel, the 50, that thing's got to just weigh a freaking ton.
It's much bigger. So it looks exactly the same, but it's wider, the grip's longer, the grip's bigger, everything's sure. But they looked exactly the same. Whereas the hardballers in 1911s look just like regular 1911s.
Right.
They're just really
how much does like the hardballers go for? I mean, like well, not just that, but this era. I mean, is there big demand for it? Is it?
So it's getting there.
Yeah,
it's getting there. For a long time, there wasn't.
Right.
So I remember the last couple I had before these years ago. There was a drought where I didn't see any for a while. We were selling them, and they were probably selling for like $500 to $700.
Right. And matte finish is cool,
depending on what they were. And people at that time were having it hauled by the price.
Right.
They come and argue you $300 for it. Like, no way, this is crazy. Oh, when I was going to pay that, they would buy them. Now they're up there even more. I would say that. I mean, a high end on this would probably be like in the 12. I don't know if you're looking at 12 for it.
Right.
But those would kind of be the range of where it's at. As far as from a gun case out sale.
Yeah.
So with the box and everything like that, like it's just a really cool gun. So people are realizing their need. People also realize they existed.
Yeah.
If you wanted a farm gun to have in your car or something,
sir.
or you were out there, you had a side by side or something like that.
Yep.
22 mag, this is great. You could, if you know, you had to shoot varmints with it.
Yep.
You shoot varmints with it. You had to put something down. You can put something down with it.
Yep.
You want to just go.
It's an all-purpose
shoot
gun.
cans with it. You can shoot cans with it. 22 mag's not cheap, but it's not crazy expensive either.
Right.
So I mean, they're just really, really, really cool. These are actually two really, really cool pulls that she pulled out.
She did good.
She
did really good.
I'm kind of surprised, but you know, and I tell people all day long too. If you're from this area and you're into guns, you got to come by the store and stop because you never know.
Oh yeah,
we get so much used merchandise in here. These came in today.
Yeah. And you know what?
These both just walked in the door today randomly. Had from people brought them in. I mean, this is not like we were out poaching for them or hunting for them or anything like that. Like,
and they're already sold.
That
one's already sold. Isn't
I
it?
think they're both probably already sold. That sheet's not going to tell you, but no.
Oh, I see who it's on consignment from.
So yeah, it's just it's sheet, but there's just so much cool stuff out there that you never know what's
and
that's come in here.
And it's kind of cool because there's two things I like about Friday. One, we get to do podcast, and I just feel better. You know, I love doing the podcast with you. This is a lot of fun. It's always a good time. But two, I get to come in here and I get to see all kinds of cool stuff that, you know, I have no idea what it is sometimes. And I'm like, what is that? Just looks cool. And of course, Anna's like, no, that's a piece of crap. You don't want to, or nope, that's really, really cool. Or more than likely it's like, hey, take a look at this. And if I walked in the door and Anna's like, hey, you got to see this, it's going to be awesome. So I enjoy coming on.
Well, Fridays are a lot of like people come in to do stuff. Like last week they'll come in. And they're just, oh God, I'll buy it. I'll buy something. You know?
Right.
Friday's a big day for us just to sell random stuff because
it is.
It seems like a bunch of stuff comes in Friday, Thursday evening, and then come Friday night when everybody's coming in late, everybody's like buying stuff, and they just never know. It's. I tell people too, we try to put everything on the Facebook page.
Right.
Half the time it's gone before it makes it there.
Right.
I mean, it's literally never gets past the store.
Right.
Like it comes in, somebody puts it on the counter. We literally will sell stuff. You could be guy A comes in, hey, I got this gun, we take it, and it puts it behind the counter, goes along with the book. Guy goes, hey, anything to do with it? Yeah, just go this in.
You can't do that, man.
Sorry. And you're like,
I'll cut you a break because you were sick.
You're like, oh, where did it go? It never happened. And it's like, well, or you'll come in, hey, man, do you guys ever get an AMTs in here? I'm like, yeah, I just have it. I didn't see it. It sold 5 minutes before you came in.
Yeah. Or it was in the shop for 5 minutes. And then
they just don't hang around, and you never know. And especially nowadays, like the war stuff, the P-38s, the Lugers.
Yeah. How often do you get Lugers in here?
I mean, not a ton. I mean, you would say got one in today. Yeah, it's funny you say that because we did. Oh, here's what's funny. Actually, if you look at the box, remember how some of the barrel length differences?
Oh, that's funny.
So there's 3 notches
for each one of the guns.
Yeah, so.
That's cool.
I mean, this actually looks like it has everything with it. So,
who was the guy that? What was the caliber that guy bought today? The 222.
22 TCM.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's made by Rock Island.
Right.
That was them trying to compete with like the 5.7.
That's what I thought.
This is the coolest box ever. Let me tell you, Anna, did you see how cool this box is? Okay, so I pulled this box open just to look, and I realized that this gun had extra mags with it. It only came with 2 mags, or 1 mag, I think. I think it came with 1 mag.
It's got 2 in there now.
It's got 3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, that's right.
And then when I look at these are the original AMT bags.
That's cool.
For 22 mag, 9 round. It's even got the original key for the sight.
Yep. It's cool.
Oh man, I really like this.
Hey Anna,
it's got the original.
I think you're going to go home with a new gun.
It's got the tag from the.
Actually, has it been sold yet? Yes. You're out of luck.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really neat. I don't know. So that's cool. I like neat stuff. There's neat stuff.
You did good, Anna.
We never. Actually, there's 4 things came today.
Right.
Now, I didn't talk to Anna about this. I didn't have any idea we were going to do this.
Oh, mention there's also that auction coming up on the 16th with a lot.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're getting that time, aren't we?
So I was going to mention the guns when I said do this. There were 4 guns that came in today. This came in.
Right.
The 938. A Luger came in. This 22 mag came in, and then a Japanese Arisaka 77 came in. Now the 77's neat because it's not a last ditch.
Right.
So with the Japanese, when they were starting to really not do well, they started making their guns cheaper.
Right.
And there's what we call last ditch, where you can't shoot or they're too dangerous.
Right.
This is in between when they were making really nice guns and they're making last ditch guns.
Right. Is this off the same series that they had, like the Nambus?
Yeah, same kind of stuff.
Same
like that.
kind of stuff.
You can show, and Nambus are a misconception too. They always say you can't shoot the Nambus. There's one model of Nambu you can't shoot.
Oh, okay.
Shoot. So like, remember that fancy one I had with all the paperwork?
Yeah.
I'll bring that one day. I'll bring that in. We'll talk about that one too. I've shot that in the front yard.
It's really loud.
It's really loud, and
Yeah.
it's like it shoots so fast. It's really crazy. But out of those 4 guns, I was hoping she was going to pull one of them, and she pulled 2 of the ones that I was thinking.
That's cool.
And I did not talk to her about this beforehand.
That's
so it's really
cool.
funny that she brought that out.
Well, when that stuff, cool stuff comes in the shop, I'd pull it too. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, there's some really neat. You never know. I mean, we got some cool revolvers in today.
Yeah.
They came in. We got some cool rifles that came in. I'm trying to think of anything really.
Well, and y'all have the auction that's coming up on the 16th, I believe.
Yeah, so the auction with Daywood is on the 16th.
So you got some cool stuff that's going into that as well, right?
There's some neat. I got someone to look at it.
I saw 1100 410 in there.
There's a couple 1100s in there.
Yeah.
There is. There's that Arisaka. There's a trapdoor.
Yeah, that trapdoor is cool.
I didn't look at it. I don't know what age wise is on there. If you like turkey shoots, and I don't mean turkey hunting, like turkey shoots,
Yeah.
target shoots. So there's like 4 or 5 turkey shoot guns back there.
Who won? Do we know who?
I got sick of them. No.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. We were going duck hunting, so
I went to follow through on that. I mean, I had an AR build class I was supposed to do too.
yeah, I know it was awful, wasn't it?
So so I didn't get to do that. I'm doing that with those guys like the following week.
We'll have to
and
talk
if you want to do an AR build class too, we're still scheduling those out too. So it's interesting.
I can tell you that's a lot of fun. I got to sit in one of those and I learned a lot, and it was just a good time. And I had an absolute blast.
It's always a good group of people. The guys that decide that they want to do that are usually
That's where I met what's his face?
Ambrose.
Yeah,
He's probably listening. I don't know. He hasn't talked to you yet. He usually texts me when he's on there.
Yeah.
But no, we usually have a pretty good group of guys. It's fun, and it's a good thing to go through, and then we learn.
it was a good time. We had a good group of
The
people.
fun part about that, too, is it's sometimes, like, it's a good troubleshooting event.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to watch everybody and do everything at the same time. It's a nice
Good luck.
People kind of fray, and you kind of, like, look, and it's like, my gun's not working. And I'm like... Should be. I was there the whole time, and then you got to go back through and do the steps. So it's everybody. I think all but like one of them worked. Oh, they all were fine. One of them.
I haven't shot mine yet.
You know what I found out this go around with the class was really interesting, is that sometimes with the bolts, whenever they're cutting grease, the cutting oil they use, where they're cutting the bolts in the machine shops or packaging I don't know what it is.
Sure.
They're not cleaning it off enough, and I thought it was just regular. People are driving with their guns, it's not functioning well, so you got to strip it. And I don't mean wipe it down.
No.
I mean, we had to strip them all the way down to get it to work.
Right.
So now that's my. So when people say like the AR doesn't work, that's the problem. The first thing I say is, did you try different kind of ammo?
Right.
And then if they did, I said, did you try 2 different bags?
Right.
Yes. Then I say, is your gas block adjustable? If it is, mess with your adjustments. If it's not, make sure it's tight.
Right.
If it's tight, my next question is your bolt dirty?
Right.
Did you clean your bolt? Is it stripped? Strip your whole bolt out and relube it. That's usually one of those. Usually
Right.
fixes the problem. It's rare that there's something in the trigger assembly that's not allowing it to go. It's rare that there's something going on with the buffer
Right.
system unless they put something different in there that wasn't supposed to be.
Sure.
in. So for the most part, those are my go-to things initially. And 90% of the time, what it is the bolts shatter loose on the gas tube.
Gotcha.
So it'll move and it'll start shooting gas out the side of the cycle of the gun all the way.
But yeah, I built mine, and I feel terrible because I've been wanting to go shoot it. And we've been so busy. I haven't had time, and it's like anything else. You can make time for stuff, but I just hadn't had time to go shoot that gun yet. And I've been excited to go do it, but dang, man, it's been tough. So, but we're coming up on the top, on the end of our hour there, or I guess that'd be the bottom of our hour.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to get it all in track now. I thought we had more time, but I guess we spent a lot of time going through that.
We did.
So maybe we'll do this every time.
I think that's cool.
We can do one cut a week.
Yeah, I think we should do. I think we should do that, and I think we should start doing some like videos of the different ones and doing a little bit of talk about that too, just to put out on YouTube. As
I wanted to do
video.
some videos where, and this is what I really want to do, part of the podcast, and maybe pre-film, I'll do it live. But so there's a lot of gunsmithing work going on.
Yeah.
And when I refer to gunsmithing here is we don't machine things.
Right.
So it's let's call
cleaning.
I'll call it armory work.
Okay, yeah.
Replacing parts, fixing things. We're doing armor work. We're really not making any parts for the most part. A little of that here and there, but a lot of it's polishing and fixing and troubleshooting and
Sure.
replacing parts and things of that nature and disassembly and
Just not
reassembly.
manufacturing.
Yeah, I just don't have the facility.
Right.
So what I was thinking about doing, and I have to see how to do because it's really tough with the platforms,
Right.
is can I do videos of me just doing stuff? Like I really thought it would be really cool to do like TikToks
Yep.
of gunsmithing.
Yep.
And like live of gunsmithing. They're going to cut it off, kick it off the second they get a chance. So the next frame we have then is can we do it like we do the podcast, pre-film it, and then put it on like YouTube? My only problem is that I don't want it to get lost in YouTube. It gets lost really quick in YouTube.
Sure.
And it's hard to still associate things like, oh yeah, that's Mark, they're doing this, they're talking about this. It gets really weird. So I think maybe what we want to do is hook a mic up,
Yeah.
hook two cameras up on the workbench.
Yep.
And I can talk about everything. But I can do all kinds of cool stuff too.
Yeah.
We can break down revolvers. We can
Yeah.
do different guns. We can do have we done that Beretta?
Yeah.
That Beretta was a perfect
Beretta was
example of something that was neglected
Yep.
for like 10 years.
Yep.
And it took me hours and hours, and now it's back to
It is gorgeous.
2000 gun.
Absolutely gorgeous.
There's some of those things
Yeah.
that we bring back.
I think that would be a good way to do it. I'll check with YouTube and see what they're.
I know the YouTube part should be an issue,
We'll see.
because I see guys have a lot of videos like that on there. But I
Yeah.
think if that's something too. And I mean, if people have any comments, if that sounds interesting, tell me. If it sounds
yeah,
dumb to you,
that's
then tell me
exactly what
too.
I was gonna
Like-
ask. Yeah.
like you're like, I don't want to watch Mark work on guns. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of more that we can put out other than having to wait for dates to go
Yeah.
fishing or hunting or stuff like that. Especially when they start getting canceled.
Yep.
When every week
You can do something.
working on something.
Yeah. Well,
it
why
can
don't
be
we ask?
different.
Why don't we ask people? Hey, what do you want to see? Tell us what you want to see.
And also too, if they found interesting random gun fact stuff,
Yeah.
I can start going out and pull stuff out of the safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can start talking about all kinds of different crazy things that I've acquired.
Yeah. I think next week we should talk about Python and the cult following that Python has.
I got a cool Python in here too.
I know you do.
I know. We can talk about snake guns. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. We haven't had to talk about Smiths one day because she's better with that than I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's something that I'd like to
Talk
look to
about
in
some
the
long
future.
guns, things like that.
Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. So
Cool.
I don't know. That's an idea.
We got some requests for like some unboxing and some function tests and things like that. So,
I don't mind unboxing. I just don't know what we're buying.
yeah, it just depends. I mean, a lot of people, you get a lot of new guns in here.
Beard brushes. I would like.
You got a good beard
I
going
like
on there.
beard brush.
Yeah,
I had to cut this down.
Yeah.
It's got a little too long, and I need to fix. It's not level, but it's a little. I gotta trim it.
Just
But I know I keep putting lotion in it.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the dry skin.
Yeah.
It's a whole other world. I didn't think having a beard would be this complicated.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of
Like,
work.
I just saw it look scruffy, and I don't think it's leave it as it is. If you don't touch it, you look ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, like it puffs up really, really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Like I comb this thing every day, and I haven't had hair since I was like 18. So for me to have a comb again, it's just a whole other weird world
Oh, yeah.
to me. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'll let you in on some of the beard secrets. Maybe that's one of the.
I got like beard brushes in my car and all over the place, stashed everywhere.
But
So-
I'll tell you the best thing.
People did comment on the beards in the comments on this, so I think you guys should have a beard episode.
A beard episode.
Okay. Yes.
Wait, so,
We can do that.
Wait, before we talked about it.
Oh, when
I
you
brought
first
it up?
started, like when you first got on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see. So that's another thing that people don't get is Anna won't tell me your comments. So Anna sees the comments unless they're something she wants to share with me. She won't tell me. So a lot of these people have my phone, so they just text me.
Right.
So you'll see me look at the phone all the time, like what? And that's people
Yeah.
texting me during the thing. But if you're putting them on the thing,
Yeah.
she doesn't tell me you're making fun of me until after. So I don't even realize that it's happening until it's over.
So yeah, we can do an episode on beard tips. That's for sure. So and cheap versus expensive ways to kind of go beauty secrets for beards.
It's been really tough to try to get other people on right now with the holidays.
It is.
I was trying to get a guy on tonight that we knew from before that has a company. I'm not going to talk about because I don't know exactly what he does. But it's got related. They knew it, but he was repping for a cleaning company too.
Yep.
And I want to have him on and talk about some stuff.
Yeah, I remember about that.
That would be cool, but it's been tough for him. So we got the phone thing down, maybe kind of.
Yep.
So I could nab some of these people that are out of town.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we got the video figured out. I just had. I think I know what the gremlin was. So Anna's telling us we gotta.
Once we get that
gonna die.
figured out, we'll get some more people on. We'll get a little more interesting than the same old us talking every day.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do gun of the week thing. I don't know. We'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah, we got a guy, Dan Aller, wants to come in from. He's has one of the largest hunting outfitters in Arizona and New Mexico. He's got his own show and all. He's got his own podcast. He said he wanted to come on and talk with us. So
we're adjacently next to Arizona.
Yeah, no. So yeah.
Remember too is that I'm wearing a Grennan hat.
I saw.
So you should tag them. They can send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And we've all been wearing extra tough shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps. I'm trying to get some sponsorship.
Yeah, if you're interested.
I'm trying to say Dodge.
We're working on. We're going to get a new backdrop. We'll probably get you one over there.
You know what I want over there?
What?
I want the Storm one.
Yeah.
With Moose's head on it.
You need to. You know what you need to do? You need to go talk to Percival.
Hey, Anna, open
Percival
the door
Flags. She's like, no.
Open the door real quick.
He's going to break everything.
Come here.
He's going to break everything.
Come here.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
I can't see him on camera.
Yeah, you can watch. Moose.
He's not going to come up here. Nope. Not going to happen. There's the moose.
You see him?
Yeah.
Moose. Moose. He's an awesome dog.
That's all he's going to do.
All right.
All right, we're over time.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're not sick anymore.
So we should not be missing months of podcasts again here in the future.
So
we'll be back on key again.
And if anybody wants to, if you want us to cover a particular subject or something like that, shoot us an email, info@thehuntingquest.com.
If you want to be on the show and you're interesting.
Yeah, if you want to be on the show and you're interesting, shoot us an email. Say you want to be on the show. We got some guys in Missouri who want to come on, and I'm going to work on that. So, other than that, I think that's about everything.
Percival eats us good sandwiches. We haven't had one in a couple of weeks, but they're pretty good.
They do. They got some good food.
The week that we weren't on, I wasn't on, they were doing the meatball subs.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, damn man. And it's getting really bad.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta go.
All right. Bye everybody.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Hunting Quest. No matter how crazy, high-tech, or lazy the rest of the country gets, we will always be hunting and fishing. If that's you, you've found your new family. Thanks to our sponsor, Davis Guns and Gear. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. Reach out to us by email at info@thehuntingquest.com and check us out on Instagram and YouTube at The Hunting Quest. See you next time.